Hi guys, I'm Shmee, and today's video is going to continue what has sort of become a little bit of a tradition. We're going to take a look at 5 things that I love about my Ford Focus RS. So I shot these videos before with my Ferrari FF and my Porsche Cayman GT4, giving you a sort of little bit more insight and reasoning into why I buy the cars that I do buy and share them with you. And I mean, just look at this thing. It is my first hot hatch. It's verging on a super hatch. The performance of this is on a par with the sort of supercars I had on posters 15 years ago when I was a youngster. It's absolutely crazy, 0 to 62 in 4.7 seconds, while simultaneously having all-wheel drive, 5 seats, lots of technology and all sorts of other things. So this car is the latest addition to my garage. I've owned it now for about 10 days. I've done 700 miles already. So I'm starting to get it a little bit more run-in and understand a little bit more what I can do with it. So let's take a look at those 5 things I love about my Ford Focus RS. To get us started then, the first item on my list, it has to be the performance that the RS has available. There's a 2.3 litre EcoBoost engine, 350 horsepower, and it is no slouch. The top speed is 165 miles per hour. That's more than your sort of normal Mercedes, BMW or Audi even goes. You get to 62, like I said, in 4.7 seconds. I mean, just to put this into perspective, that's fast, and this is with a manual gearbox, remember, 6-speed manual gearbox. Let me just pop open the bonnet and show you the engine that we have in here. Ford Performance are doing some pretty exciting things. Now let me just open this up. I can release the catch, there we go. So I've got to hold this up with my other hand, but in here, this is what's making this go. It's a 2.3 litre EcoBoost, or as I like to call it, EcoBeast, or as some of you have been calling it, the Shmee Beast, which is kind of funny. And that is basically what's making it all go. I'm gonna drop the bonnet back down because it's rather heavy on my hand there without supporting it up with the strut. But that thing is basically a recipe for fun. You feel the torque pulling you away, it gets up, it goes. And like I said, the performance figures, I just can't get my head around it. That just has to be the first and most important reason on my list. For the second item on my list, it has to be the technology. There are all sorts of features and functionality on the inside to enhance the driving experience, but it's also the trick tech that makes it work. The car has an exceptionally clever 4-wheel drive system that lets you channel most of the available power and torque to just a single one of the rear wheels. That means you can select one of the 4 variable driving modes, which is drift. You might have seen that in the press recently. The Australians have not been so happy about people hooning their RSs. Now, I haven't tried it yet because my car is still running in, but I'd certainly hope to get it to an airfield or a track day in the not too distant future to try out drift mode. You've also got launch control, you've got a number of other sort of safety type things, active city stop, that's the sort of sensor, the proximity sensor at the front of the car that would detect if you were about to roll into another object up to 30 miles an hour and will automatically apply brakes. So in theory, you can't bump the front of the car at slow speed, which is pretty nice. Then we get to the sort of general convenience features which you don't necessarily expect a £35,000 car to have. So you've got the sort of keyless system, put the key in your pocket, touch the handle, auto folding mirrors, auto dimming rear view mirror, an 8-inch touchscreen, in fact just nice displays all around. Start the car up with the starter button. It's basically loaded with all this kind of useful, convenient tech type stuff, which maybe you're not expecting a Ford Focus to necessarily have, but all enhances your driving experience. You know, the windscreen has quick clear, so when it's frozen over in winter, in 3 seconds, it can clear itself. 3 seconds! That basically makes it a car you can use all of the time. You've got, you know, cruise control, limiter, Bluetooth, digital radio, and this nice central navigation system screen. So, from a technology point of view, it's got just about everything that you could ask for. Number 3, let's talk about how it looks. So the paint, the nitrous blue paint. In some lights, it almost looks like it's a flat blue color. Those of you that know me know that I like my blue cars. When you come up close though in the sunshine, you can see just how much metallic sparkle there is going on here, which I particularly like. It's kind of the launch communications color for the Focus RS, so without a shadow of a doubt, this was the color that I wanted for it, amongst the other choices of black, gray, white, and I think a silver color. I've customized it slightly. Went down to Dub Customs to put on the satin black roof, which I just feel enhances and gives it a slightly lower look. And then these two little badges on the end plates of the wings, matching with the chrome and the blue to the RS logo itself found at the rear and the front. So you can see if I sort of pull the camera back how the roof line just pulls down the body of colour slightly. It matches in with the spoiler as well that you find on the back. But the just general look of the car, it's got the optional wheels, the optional forged wheels with the blue calipers. Very aggressive looks for a hatchback, obviously, with that, with the enhanced diffuser, with those rather large exhaust tips down there too. And as we come around to the front, there's a lot of air intakes, obviously, to do their thing with cooling of the engine. So the third thing I love is that basically, you know, it's a 5-door family hatchback, except it looks badass. Number 4 on my list is going to be value for money. What we're looking at here is a car that starts with a list price of £31,000. You can spec it up like this to 35 and a bit, which when you think about what you're getting for that money, and that's a fairly spec'd car, you know, with all the navigation, the entertainment, the Shell bucket seats, everything basically that you could want on the car. It's so much performance for not very much money. To do any better, if I could use that term, you have to be spending loads more on a brand new car. And you've got it all from the word go, straight out of the box, in a car that also has all of this tech and all of this capability, 4-wheel drive, you can use it all the time, you can store loads of stuff in it because there's a massive boot. You're basically getting a whole lot of car for not a whole lot of money. My 5th and final thing in this list of things I love about the Focus RS has to be the everyday fun drivability. Now I know I've kind of used my Ferrari FF as an everyday car as much as you can. I don't have a sort of regular commute, so it's not quite the same, but I have taken it to IKEA. As you might remember, I picked up a 2-meter tall bookcase with my FF, which was quite fun. But the reality is those kind of cars are very, very expensive to run. You're fueling a V12. You're worrying, what if something were to happen? At the end of the day, it's a Ferrari. It's not going to be a cheap or easy repair. So I kind of wanted to enter a world of a more normal, everyday car. So the Focus is exactly that. It's a 5-door car, there's loads of space. We've sort of had a look and talk about that already. But what it also is, while doing everything that you need, is very, very fun to drive. The combination of 4-wheel drive, the 6-speed manual, the raspy exhaust that pops and crackles away a little bit at you. In fact, let's hear it. See what I mean? That just brings a smile to your face. Everything about the car is just enjoyable when you're out on the road. And that's why, and I've mentioned it before, I'm going to keep the car for a little bit in Scotland. I've got personal reasons to be up there, and it will be a car that I can use for everything and have a lot of fun when I'm doing so. It's the world of hot hatches, a world. I kind of lied when I said it's my first one. I did have an R-Bath, but it was an R-Bath with paddles. It's a little bit small, not so much about the performance capabilities in the way that the Focus RS is. So it's a new experimentation for me. When I drove it to Le Mans, I loved the thing, hence why I went and bought one. But number 5, to top off that list, is how much fun this car is to drive while still being sensible and pretty practical. Now that you've had my 5 things, I want to answer another question that I'm seeing an awful lot, which is, why did I buy this car rather than, say, one of the competitors? The Mercedes A45, the Audi RS3, the Golf R, all sorts of different options out there on the market, Renault, Seat, loads and loads of different things. Well, I think Ford are desperately in brand right now. It's very exciting what's going on. The Ford GT that you know I've applied for, winning at Le Mans, everything that Ford Performance are doing. And this car, I mean, watch other reviews, watch the other YouTubers who have bought one. You've got JP Performance in Germany, you've got Matt Farah from the Smoking Tire. Basically, this is a driver's car, and that's why when I drove it down to Le Mans, I just fell in love and I wanted to give it a go and enter this world. And I'm going to try and do more videos, sort of reviews, tests, driving with more hot hatches to get to compare them all, because it's just such a fun world. It's not necessarily all about power, expensiveness, well, I shouldn't say expensive, I should say value or total sort of maximum numbers, driving enjoyment is so much more than that. And that's what I sort of found with the GT4. It may not be the most ludicrously powerful car in the world, but what it is an absolutely brilliant drive. So the Focus RS, you know, it's got the manual box. It's the fastest manual gearbox hot hatch to 62. It's very, very quick off the line. It has sort of just everything about it appealed to me on an emotional level. So I wanted to jump on board and try it. And you might have watched the Evo video, Evo magazine's video with the Focus RS and the manual Golf R. The Focus was quickest to a half mile, to a quarter mile, and then to a half mile. So basically, everything about it just appealed to me, and I wanted to be part of this sort of, I guess, movement with Ford Performance. I went to the launch of the car with Ken Block at the factory in Cologne, in the Ford sort of HQ in Germany. What, it was nearly a year and a half ago now, so coming through to the delivery of the car and getting one myself has been a long story. Obviously, I didn't order it from new, but I did sort of feel part of it all the way. So it's a new adventure for me, a new journey, a new fun one to be sharing with you guys. But the Focus RS just stood out as a starting point, and I want to keep a hot hatch as part of my sort of Shmee fleet, if you can call it that, going forward. So who knows what would come next, but for now I'm going to have many, many, many fun miles in this car ahead of me. In fact, I'm going to be taking it over to Germany in a couple of weeks' time before it goes up to Scotland, so you can see the miles are adding up quite quickly there, because I love it. It's absolutely awesome. For a car of its class, I was not expecting to have so much fun. Well done, Henry Ford's company. This one is brilliant. So I'm going to wrap us up there. The 5 things that I love about my new Ford Focus RS. Thank you very much for watching. That's it for now, and I will catch up with you again very soon. Cheers.